Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lids and we're back for some more Mardek, and of course last time we picked up some new items, namely the Dracal Crescent, the Obelisk, Steel Stole, and Astral Wanderer's Garb, all of which, especially these first two, should be some pretty big pickups for us, so we're looking forward to getting the chance to use these soon. I'm looking at the Obelisk at least in particular, wondering when we'll get the chance to put on Pyro Shell and just generally the strongest spear for Donovan. However, at least at the moment, he has not yet mastered everything from the Fire Fang, so it might be a little while until we're able to do that. But, at least in the case of Slinik, I'm thinking probably want to get them in as soon as possible, because, well, I suppose it's actually the same story where we were talking about previously how they have a ton of axes that we've not yet mastered the skills from, so there's a bit of a line that the Dragon Crescent is going to need to get in. But, I suppose now is as good a time as any to try to get through that list of axes. So let's head back over to the inn and perhaps bring in Slinik. Could even bring in Charla as well if we wanted to make it so that Donovan is working on mastering the things from his current spear, and then Charla maybe takes the Obelisk first. We could give that a shot. Vern's been here for a while, so let's take him out. And Legion, let me think. Do we need you right now to learn any skills? I don't think that's necessarily the case, in which case, who do we most want to get in to learn other things? Because I think Meridor, we're mostly looking to just give you experience, because you're currently the lowest level party member. Less so on the mastering skills, because at least with you and your weapon situation, you aren't mastering new skills from your weapons, so you're probably okay in that front. Whereas Eloian, I feel like you have several pieces of sheet music that we've not yet mastered, so let's get you in. Let's go that route. Not necessarily convinced that we want to go with Charla here. I think we probably do go with Slinik instead, because Slinik definitely has a lot of stuff to do. And then once Donovan is done with all the spears, then we'll swap Donovan out for Charla, because of course they're using the same types of weapons. Charla, you're making a decent case for yourself, what would you being on 98% experience, but at least for the moment, Donovan is still a lower level, so perhaps all the more reason to give him a little bit more of a chance to level up. Let's head on out, and other than that, what I think we're going to do is, let's probably warp here. Don't necessarily think we have much else to do, at least in the immediate future, in Xantusia directly. But I'm thinking that we go back to, actually, Lifewood for a second here, because there's something that we've not yet done, or at least something that we set ourselves up to do that we've not yet completed. And it's been a while since we were in here, of course, and so, lovely elves, these guys are somewhat rare in here. They are the ones that drop the hats that we saw one of in the Earth Temple, but I think it's a fairly uncommon drop. Purple Manted is a pretty hard hitter, so we're probably going to want to try to take you out first. However, Elian is first, and she's not going to have much in the way of direct damage. She could use something like Dolores Sturge and do a little bit of that, but we probably also should have made a point to say putting on new equipment for people, because we might have moved a lot of things around since it's been a very long time since we last used these people. There's a chance that, yeah, you know, Eloian could, say, have 3 empty inventory spots right now, and Slinik could have basically everything but an axe missing right now. So this could be a little trickier than it has to be right now. Fortunately, if you attack Mardek, I'm pretty sure he is all equipped here. So yeah, definitely do that. Please and thank you. Remember that I believe the Purple Manted, being Fire Elemental, actually has 200% fire resistance, so we definitely don't want to target that one with something like a Blaze. Probably going to want to do that on one of the elves. However, Donovan's skill that you're trying to master, I believe, is a physical reaction, so we should go for the attack. Obviously, would have liked if Donovan had finished that lovely elf off there, but so be it. Mardek, you are on the Earth Sword still, and of course you've not yet mastered Earth Slash, because we've been in areas with a bunch of Earth Resistance people. Likely to be the same sword here in Lifewood, except Purple Manted does only have 50% Earth Resistance. Same with the Elves. Manted, I believe, does have the reaction if you hit it with an attack, so this likely will get it angry at us. But Mardek can tank it better than anyone. And then Slinik, you've not yet mastered Perforate. I'm thinking, do that here, take out the mantis. Now you are done with that axe. I believe that was the last thing you would have needed, unless there's some other reactions as well. So, like we were saying, now we can get back to learning new things from new axes. That is actually enough to take that lovely elf out. And so, Donovan, yeah, I mean, this time around, surely you have enough damage on physical attack, right? You crit? You definitely do. Okay. There is Perforate. Oh, and actually, magic damage soak for Mardek mastered as well. I believe that is the one coming from... Oh, was it his hat? No, it's from the shield, is it not? Yes, it is. Okay. I was gonna say, for a second I thought that was the one coming from the elf hat, the thing that I was just talking about, that those elves can drop. But let's maybe just make a quick point of throwing on new stuff here. Because Eloise, you have mastered this, the Runic Rhapsody. We have other pieces of sheet music here. Hey, you mastered these as well? Is it these three down here? Okay. These three not yet done. So we have Ballad of Life, which is sheet music for a piece titled Ballad of Life, which heals allies when they take their turns. So kind of like regen in that way. Sounds useful. Ballad of Balance, which splits damage across the whole party whenever anyone is hit. That's an interesting one as well. That's very unique. And then Solid Sonata, which boosts the physical defense of all allies while it plays. Let's go with maybe the life one, because I think that's the most straightforward, at least, for right now. And then, other than that, you mastered everything on the Lapis Beads. You have not. That being 50% evasion. Seems like a reasonable thing to put on now. Have mastered everything on the Bangle. Not that you can equip a Bone Axe, Eloine. That would be a little odd. Not necessarily consistent with your harps. Does seem that we are perhaps in need of something else to throw on, though. I mean, the green beads, they do give a little bit of earth resistance and a tiny bit of vitality as well. Poor magic defense is nothing to snuff at either, but we can probably do better, and we are still standing relatively close to this crystal here. So let's make a point to gearing people up a little bit more. So, Eloine, what do we really want for you? One more accessory spot, and also a chest plate of some variety. So, have you, say, master the magic defenses on the green robe? You have not. That's an option. Don't necessarily think it's the strongest option per se, because we might still have things like the Geo Jacket that you may not have mastered, the Resist Earth, things of that sort that are usually more of our go-tos. So let's take a closer look. Here is said Geo Jacket. Zach has not yet finished it, but Zach is not in the party right now, so that shouldn't matter too much. Elwyn is actually partially through it, but has not yet mastered it, and in Lifewood, seems like as good a time as any to work on that. So let's do that on Elwyn, at least for the chest plate spot. Then in terms of our second accessory, suppose, Zach, you might still have something there. Here's the elf cap that I was referring to. It is a very similar skill to what Mardek had just mastered. It's the Soak 10, rather than the Soak 20 that Mardek just did. So, do you need a helmet? Anybody? Slick? Congratulations, you're the winner. We do still want the accessory spot, though, for Elwyn. So let's still try to find something to put in there. We could, of course, just throw in something like an Emerald Bangle for the extra earth resistance. But with her equipping the Geo Jacket, it's probably not strictly necessary right now. So, other than that, surely there's something else that we could use for mastering. I think we made a point of mastering all the life-based skills. Yeah, plus 10% HP. She's done that because she is so low HP to begin with. We were saying, yeah, we probably want to do something about that. Even clarity to resist confusion. I think we've seen on some occasions, sleep and confusion are the two things that can really cause some trouble here in Lifewood, depending on if you're in the Lifewood or Dreamwood version. So, this might not be a bad idea to throw this on, even if it's not necessarily, in other circumstances, one of our go-to skills. Just to have that safety net, I think is quite helpful, unless there's anything else that really jumps out at us here. If we wanted to, we could put on the lucky coin on someone here to get the chance to, well, pick up more items. Donovan, I think you were working on this at one point. Yeah, you're roughly halfway through. Donovan, you've not mastered plus 20% HP, but you've been equipping the Emerald Bangle? Odd. Let's throw on the Loot Finder instead of the the fire pendant, because presumably you're not going to need that here. And then, other than that, still looking for something for Eloian here. That is, at least, if we feel like the item that we put there was not the best, which perhaps we could find something a little more fitting. Something that's better in the long term. The Night Jacket would be another thing that we'd probably want to put on someone if they have not yet mastered this ability here, Resist Dark, because that's another one that is almost always at or near the top of our list. So let's do that, at least for Slinic here. And then, what's remaining? I don't know if we have too much here. If we wanted to boost someone's agility like crazy, we could throw on the Boots of Celerity, plus 10 agility. That's really good when you have someone who you know can immediately take out an entire group of enemies, but I'm not necessarily sure that's the case here. So I think we'll probably stick with what we have, at least for Eloian. Then Slinic, we just mastered what I hope was the last thing on the Bone Axe. It was, so jump with the Great Axe, that was your first weapon. Iron Axe, yes. Bone Axe, yes. Then we have the Stone Axe for an Earth Slash, which, like we were just saying with Mardek, can be a little bit hard to master that here in Lifewood when there are so many enemies with Earth resistance. The Rending Eye does have high base damage and a little bit of extra spirit and resist dark as well, but it doesn't have any skills, so it's a strong base weapon, yes, but at least as of right now, it's not terribly useful. Might want to go with the Mighty Axe, 42 base attack versus 50 on the Rending Eye, so it is weaker. However, it gives us the Boost ability and Quarry Insect, which are going to be some things that, presumably, we're going to want to try to master. So, long term, this will be better if we can master those things up. So let's do that. Then, Slinic, you are also looking for some accessory slots here. As for what we might want those to be, I suppose we could also take a look at what we have in our item storage, because we probably do have some decent things lying around in here. I was looking strictly at people's inventories, which may not have been the answer, per se. Slinic, you've not yet mastered plus 20% evasion, which you can get from this amulet here, along with some spirit and resist light and dark, which I'm not sure is going to be terribly relevant in here, but you can do it, so why not? Other than that, we don't have the MP scaling things, so we could do something about that. Zombification resistance with Vim, sure, but I don't think that's going to be terribly useful either. So, why don't we go with something like, say, Sapphire Bangle? Slinic, we did find that when you were using your active skills, that you were blowing through your MP very quickly, because you have pretty low spirit. So I think that's not a bad idea. How much RP do you have, though? Enough for Resist Dark. We have a lot of things that you come roughly halfway towards mastering. Clarity, Locomotion, Resist Water, and Resist Earth. So, I know we were just saying that Eloian was partway through mastering Resist Earth, but I do think that Slinic is actually closer. So, tell you what, here's an idea. Let's instead put the Astral Wanderer's Garb on Eloian. Remember, this is a light armor, even though it kind of looks like a heavy chestplate. This is something that anyone can wear, because she is partially toward mastering Resist Ether. So let's prioritize that on Eloian's side. That way, what we can do is on Slinic's side, we can instead throw on the Geo Jacket, because Slinic is close. Just 14 battles away. So then, once Slinic is done, then we can swap this back over to Eloian, and we can do, say, a Trilobite Armor to master Resist Water on Slinic, or any of a number of other things. Then we still have just enough RP to do plus 20% MP, that works out well. And, ooh, Damage Soak, yeah, we just put on the helmet for that. Let's make a point of doing it. Other than that, I mean, these are not going to be super relevant here, but sure. Fire Resistance. Of course, Earth would be best here, but that would require putting on an Earth Pendant, because Slinic has not yet mastered it. 100% evasion. This is not a lot of stuff here for Slinic. This is a little bit alarming, because you, of course, can wear heavy chest plates. So for you to only have minus 10% and minus 20% mastered here, that's not great. Definitely not great. Also, Quarry Insect is something that we're getting from the current axe, so we want to make a point of equipping that here so we can master that. Let's take off Human, put on Insect instead. Then let's just double check other things for Eloian here. We were trying to put on the item that gave us plus 50% evasion. But Eloine has some of the best, and by extension, most expensive defensive reactions here. So as we're seeing, we'd love to have some more RP, because we can't do Survivor, Evasion, and Resist Earth simultaneously. We need to pick. So, tell you what though, we can do both of those if we pass on Survivor for now. So I think that is worthwhile, for sure. Other than that, Clarity, we would have to take something else off, like, say, plus 10% HP, which I'm reluctant to do, but I suppose, like we've said before, Clarity in here can be very helpful. Donovan, just a quick check on you. I'm not sure we've changed too much, but to confirm, I think for the most part we're looking to master this ability here, plus 20% damage of the physical variety, which is coming from your current spear. We'll need to master that before we switch on over to the new one. Mardek, I mean, I wasn't even looking at what you had, but I think, well, I mean, it's not a terrible idea. Throw on a bunch of HP. Not only that, gives 50% Earth resistance, and we're in Lifewood right now, so expecting our fair share of Earth damage here. Could, say, swap over this shield, because we just mastered the ability on it, and throw on something like the Shield of Light, but I think we'll be fine for the time being. So let's head on up, and what I'm thinking we do is, well, actually, can we teleport to the center of the forest? That might be technically a bit of a shortcut. I don't remember if that's one of the locations that this ferry can take us to. Well, we know this fight quite well. One that we were just doing before. So Ballad of Life is the one that we just put on Eloine here. So, piece of music that restores HP to all allies when it plays. HP is restored based on Eloine's spirit. That is going to be the case, of course, for basically all of Eloine's abilities. So, getting a high spirit on her is a big deal. She's on 20 right now, which is not bad. Our opponents do go next, though. Ooh, there's some sleep. And I missed that reaction there, but that's 2 people asleep. There you see, that's Eloine's ability there, healing us for just shy of 300 HP at the start of people's turn. So, like I said, similar to a regen ability in that way. So Mardek, we would love to use Earth Slash with you. The thing is, it's probably enough to take out a Lovely Elf. It is not going to be enough to take out a Purple Mantid. Purple Mantid, if you hit it, it will react and get mad at you. It does have Berserk on right now, so it's going to hit hard. Thing is, if we don't target it now, it's going to start taking out everyone else. And it's even more dangerous against other people, because their defenses are not as good. So I think, Slimek, you fortunately woke up here. Boost is the new ability that you're learning from your existing axe here. So we do want to make a point of doing that. But I'm kind of thinking that we want to get rid of this Mantid as soon as possible. And we do, I believe, have Poor Insect on now, right? So our damage should be solid. Now, I'm not as concerned about the Lovely Elves here, so I think we'll be fine. Let's pass. And we do, of course, want them to attack Eloine because, well, he has several defensive reactions. Donovan also woke up. We want to use physical attacks on you. As we saw previously, damage is not quite enough. Mardek, you could also Earth Slash on these guys. They only have 50% resistance, as we saw before. So that's fair game. Slimek, now I'm thinking is a reasonable time to boost yourself. Gives you additional strength, plus 8 at that. I do believe that is the maximum. Much like any other attribute boosting skills, I think that that has a range of, on the high end, definitely 8. Bottom end is either 2 or 3, so we lucked out there a bit. Slimek now, of course, would hit quite hard. Elian, I suppose, tell you what, we should not have been passing on her turn. We should have been actively pressing the Ballad of Life button. That way, if she's getting close to actually mastering that ability, if we pass, then it doesn't count, even if she's continuing to play it. So, Mardek is asleep. Donovan, just use a physical attack here. And like I was saying, let's double check. Picking up a Big Juice is nice, because of course, we used basically all of ours on the Red Dragon fight not long ago. Let's see if you can take us to the center of the forest. I don't remember. You cannot. Okay. So we'll stay in that case. We'll have to walk there. No problem. No problem. So, means we're going to the left here, and then up. And it's been a while since we were in this section of Lifewood, because of course, in the past, or at least past while, we found that the fairy's been able to take us to the location that we wanted to go to. Okay, these guys are quick. use Leaf Stingers. Fortunately, they happen to miss everyone. They are a good target for something like Dolores Dirge, because it will deal enough damage to take them out. But in the name, getting close to mastering Ballad of Life, we'll go that route. And the Mantids, they're not enraging this time, they're attacking. Donovan takes damage, but there you see, heals off all of that damage, so that's great. And we do want you to use physical attacks. I'm thinking you want to use those on a Leaf Stinger. You do have enough damage to take one of those out, so that's nice. And then Mardek, I think, same deal we saw before. You're definitely going to want to try to use the Earth Slash on a Mantid. It will get mad at you, but 41 damage is not too bad. And Slinik, I think, on this occasion again, you're probably going to want to use a normal attack, not a boost. Don't really want these purple Mantids staying around for too long. Poison is not ideal for Donovan, but of course, with Ballad of Life going, that will counter it a fair bit. Ooh, okay. Mantid targeting Slinik this time. Unfortunately, the order of operations there that we just saw is that Donovan heals from Ballad of Life and then takes damage from the poison, so unfortunately, Ballad of Life doesn't quite keep him at max HP here. Shouldn't be too big of a deal, though, because that wasn't a ton of damage from poison. And we can take out the Leaf Stinger there. Mardek is not going to be enough damage to take out the purple Mantid here. It will react for that reason. And then Slinik, we could perhaps boost, but that does mean that then Elwyn goes next, and she's not going to be able to take out the Mantid. So if we were being a little bit clever, we could do this here if we feel like we're okay with taking some hits from the Mantid. Just don't necessarily think this is the best enemy to do that against. There are certainly weaker enemies that I'd rather do that with here in Lifewood. So let's just take it out. And Mardek is actually kind of close to leveling, which of course nowadays is not terribly common because he is a fair bit higher level than most other people. I do believe that you're still poisoned right now, Donovan, so let's do something about that. Move Taint. There we go. And we'll keep on heading up here to just double check our map. Yeah, I think we want to go one more area up. Or do we? I think we do. So this is the middle of Lifewood, of course, but I think we actually want to go back into Greenwood, which means, of course, the type of enemies we're going against here will change. Does that change anything with Elwyn, though? No, I think we still go with Ballad of Life. Except now we're taking Fig damage, which is, of course, a fair bit tougher to build those resistances against. Donovan, is there any reason why you should not attack these guys with physical attacks? They do have some fire resistance, yes, but I think... Well, actually, it's going to be the Forgotten Face that goes next, so let's take a look at you. You have 30 defense, so it's going to be hard to break through that. Don't think you're going to do much in the way of damage, but let's give this a shot. Yeah. Well, ooh, it stuns Mardek, notably. Mardek does not have the chance to go. Paralysis takes hold. So, Slinik, perhaps that means we might be relying on you a little bit more here. Again, do we feel okay with using a boost on this occasion? I think the whims I'm not too concerned about. Forgotten Face, of course, if it proceeds to paralyze everyone, then that's going to become a bit concerning. So, do we make a point of using something like a Fire Breath to take it out? Maybe we do. Now I think we should be in reasonable shape here. Now, Elwyn, let's make a point of reactivating Ballad of Life. Now you're attacking Mardek as well. Rubbing it in his face. Missed the reaction on Donovan, but there we see Ballad of Life. Heals it off, so no issues there. How much damage can you do against a whim, Donovan? A little bit more. I do think they have a little bit less in the way of physical defense. Mardek does get the chance to take a turn here. In terms of their earth defense, it's 50, meaning that you should be able to do some damage here, and it, in fact, would have been enough to take out any of them. Slinik, again, if we wanted to boost, this is maybe a better set of enemies to do it against. Plus 4 strength this time. Does mean Elwyn has a little bit more time to use Ballad of Life as well. And, you know, we're taking 4 damage every turn, and that's not a problem. So, as for Donovan, I mean, yeah, probably just use physical attacks, and you will ultimately end up taking this guy out. Mardek, you could also use this as an opportunity to Earth Slash. I think it's going to be a little bit easier to fit in now that we're in Dreamwood, so maybe we pass with you. Because that would, of course, take out this whim, and this is maybe a better opportunity for Slinik to boost some strength. Strike a pose. That one was Magnum. And then more Ballad of Life. Donovan. This should end the whim, assuming you don't miss, and you don't. Mardek, we're gonna want to remove that paralysis for sure. Take the Fig Essence as well. And we do still have a crystal right here, so we could just remove it that way. What I want to do is I want to head down this way. And as you may remember, there's this cave down here that we poked our head into a while back. But we found that there were many walls that were blocking it. And we did flip a lot of switches since then. So what I want to do is check, can we now make it all the way through? All Forgotten Faces this time. Let's do more Ballad of Life. Donovan, you are next. Now, theoretically, something like a blaze across the board would probably be the most effective strategy here. But if we're deliberately trying to make a point of mastering skills, then effectiveness is not necessarily what we're looking for here. Now, if you could say, like, not stun everyone, that would be ideal. Mardek, fortunately, will still take his turn. So I'm thinking you probably have enough damage, Mardek, to take out the one with the most AP. You do not. So, my bad. Slinik, could you maybe finish it off? I probably should have looked at what your non-elemental resistance is, because it is 100%, so we should have known that would deal 0 damage. I should have known that. Ballad of Life. Donovan, you're not going to do much here. Now the faces will go next, and they will stun Slinik as well. So, although the damage isn't terribly high, like I was saying before, if the paralysis does start to accumulate, then we could find ourselves having turns where we just have no one act at all, and then that gets us in a bit of a bind. So, Mardek, you could Earth Slash, you'd definitely be able to take this guy out now this time. And there's the level. It is an odd number, so Mardek will not gain any RP here. Slinik paralyzed that time, can't go. So let's keep on Ballad of Lifing. And Donovan, you can whittle away at their HP, yes, but it's gonna take a while if we're relying solely on you. Of course, if we absolutely needed to, we could swap over to Dolores Dirge on Elwyn, and that would deal some automatic damage that way. But rather not have to resort to that. Okay, so what did we learn? We learned that you definitely do not want to use a physical attack, even if it's Perforate on Slinik here. So Fire Breath would likely be the answer if we're trying to maximize the damage. Let's go that route. Ooh, still not enough damage, even with that. So if we wanted to, we could go this route and deal damage with Elwyn, and that actually might be the best option here, because it is low damage, yes, but it's consistent, and it is not affected by resistances or defenses. These guys have a fair bit of both those things. So that's partially why this is taking a little while to take them out, but also because we're deliberately making a point of using some skills that we're trying to master, even if they're not necessarily the most effective against these guys, and I think for that reason we'll continue to do that. So, Donovan, this is actually the one we're going for this time. For the most part. The other one is slightly damaged. Now, Donovan joins the stun party. Mardek, I think this time, yes, definitely try to take one out here. Slinik can't go. Does mean more time for Ballad of Life. And as we saw previously, Elwyn does have a lot of stuff she still needs to master, so it's not a terrible thing in that regard. Give her more time to do that. And Donovan, I mean, technically speaking, doesn't matter if you miss, because you're just trying to use as many of those physical attacks as possible. This should do the trick here. It does. Definitely going to want to remove those paralyses. That's paralysis after this fight here. And the Fig Juice is certainly welcome as well. So let's make a point of using some motion potions if we have any here. We have a couple in Mardek's inventory, yes. Some in Donovan's as well. Just try to get a sense as to, are we overflowing with those at the moment, or should we be more concerned, even after battles, about accumulating paralysis? Because, well, that's most of the motion potions there. We do have some remedies, which will remove any and all statuses. So we could resort to that. I'd rather not, because those are pretty expensive and pretty powerful. Be a little bit overkill. Double checking our map, we're headed straight up here. Cave is in this direction. Who will we find? Carpian arrows. Usually, these are the fastest enemies we find ourselves going against. We could Dolores Dirge, and if we did, I think we would basically instantly take this guy out. Which is tempting, yes. But I think it is also perhaps one of the enemies that we are least concerned about. It does have a high percent of evading attacks. So I was gonna say, we might find that it would be difficult to take this guy out with physical attacks like that. Ooh, you actually dropped purple conches. I did not remember that. That is a crafting item. One that I believe I was previously under the impression that we might have only had a limited variety of, so that's interesting for sure. This is the cave that I was talking about, and there are no more walls remaining. Previously, we saw one here, here, and here. So we flipped a bunch of switches a while ago. We just never doubled back here. So let's make a point of checking out what is in this chest and why was it so heavily guarded. It is a Dreamstone, Dreamstone number 13. So let's check that out. And it is, I believe, going to be this one here. This is the one that we got way back in the Dark Temple. We'll make a point of looking at that one soon. You are gatherized here, O Lunari, because the seer has seen, and what she has seen is painful, baleful, and dire. We must all hear out what she saw. Not entirely sure how you pronounce XE, but we'll go for it. I saw a great evil. Oh no. She always does. A threat to not just Kaoru, but the entire galaxy. A thing, a biped, who, with a dark crystal from a distant world, could ringerize the end of us all. He could be the reincarnation of Zephyros. Oh no! Oh no! Yes! For I have seen this with my astral eyes. It is not as clear as I would prefer, Fi, but I see a dark essence, a dark energy of being originating from a world. A world of humans. Belfan. From there, a dark foe will rise to bother us all, using a dark crystal, but a bright light, a spark of hope, will also be born from there, which will challenge Eros, this dastardly dark presence. And oh, how it will shine, brighter than any sun. However, we cannot rely on the fates alone. Their threats are strong, so we need not send many. We must send one Runair, Chieftain Erunu. She's to wait on this world of Belfan, and to observify and protect Eros, the Dark Crystal there, until the Dark One goes near it. She must stop the villain, the Zephyros one, before they can start. The Chaosbringer will not rise again. Ah! I hope, oh hopey hope, they don't choose-rise me. You all heard the seer. One of you Runari must be sent to this little world to watch the prophecy and ensure our safety. You, Solar, 9th of the Lupadar, said, do you acceptify this quest? Buggeration! No! I acceptorize it as much as possible, O almighty chieftain who I serve with verve, for it is my duty, for I'm of the Runari. Very good. You can travel through an astral tunnel, but you cannot returnize until your quest is complete, Otato. Get it? Aye, indeed. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Going now I am, I be. My quest shan't be failed. Oh, pooh and not woo. This'll be awfulicious, I bet. The seer's so unreliable, Army. It could happen in a year or 1,000. I could be wait-ending most of my life away from home. Okay, so that's one Dreamstone. Let's check out this one here. Darn it all to the hells. Why the profanity in hell do these little pricks keep getting the one-up on me? There's something wrong with this profanity in universe. That's why it needs to be profanity in destroyed. And with this, baby, I can make that happen. Oh yeah, baby. Now we're talking. That little bandit at the mines wasn't worthless after all. for giving me the idea of these things. They really are profanity and powerful. Work, darn you! You stupid gone iron crystal! Work when I tell you to! Don't make me smash you or nothing! Darn it! Still need to find out how to work the profanity in thing. I will find out soon, and then the end will come for all this world who dare defy me. That darned chick, that Emila, she is the one who I will get first. How dare some scrawny person zap me with a lightning bolt? That really stung. This scar, my eye, my cushy job in the guard, she robbed me of them. She will die. I will travel. I will find a way to use this profanity in Dark Crystal to make sure that. Just you wait and see, my little pretty. But you know what? She's still cute. So before I end her painful life, I'll tie her up. Make sure I get me a sweet piece in the deal. And when she screams and cries, I'll laugh. I'll do it for hours, and I'll never find anything hotter than that. Profanity, yeah. Then she'll die, and they'll all die. That profanity. Tin Man. That golden dog, that long-haired nerd with the sissy beard, and that other chick, Charla, gone. I'll taint all souls in this godforsaken world using this rock. Then I'll rule them all, and they'll bow down to me. Profanity, yeah. I'm so awesome. Sometimes I wish I could clone myself just because I'm so awesome and hot, yeah. Okay, couple of Dreamstones there. A lot of information from them, from two people that you probably have a pretty good sense who they're coming from. Yeah, one of whom we're not a huge fan of, may have taken issue with just about everything that that person said. The other one, perhaps, a lot more details about some things that they were keeping rather secret. So, those were some of the things that we were holding on to for a while there, waiting for a better opportunity to use, but now that we know that information, we have even more to think about. But with that, I think this is a good place for us to wrap up here, so I will catch you all next time.